Guys, it's Rising. It's here, rising up the ranks as always. Hope you guys enjoy this video as always. But yeah, I know I said I was only gonna do 4 series. I believe this one's gonna be posted. But for my What If Naruto, I think it was a Ghoul part 2. It should be before that one. We're going back to our daily schedule. I had internet problems and I felt really lazy afterwards. So that's the reason why I haven't been posting. Follow me on Instagram. That's why because I post there pretty much every day. Every now and then I don't post for like 2 or 3 days because it's an art Instagram, and every day I can't draw. But other than that, though, let's get right into this video. Of course, again, check out my Discord server. Link may be down in the description. I like that place to be more lively. But other than that, though, let's get right into this video. What if Naruto was a dragon slayer? So, what I mean by what if Naruto is a dragon slayer, for those who did not watch Fairy Tail, is they were literally raised by dragons to kill dragons. But for those who don't know, there's 3 generations of dragon slayers. The first generation, which was actually raised by dragons. The second generation, which had orbs placed in them that used, a lot of them used dragon slayer magic. And the third generation, who had both the orbs and was raised by dragons. And they can automatically use Dragon Force or something of the sorts. I can't remember the name right now. At this time, we're gonna say Naruto is 2nd generation. He's gonna be 3rd generation. He was both had an orb placed into him, and he also was raised by a dragon to use it. So automatically he has Dragon Force. For those who don't know, Sting and someone else, Sting and Rogue, that's really the 2 names. Those 2 are the 3rd generations that we know of so far. I have not read the manga, so don't ask me. I'm not sure if we actually know more, and I have not watched the final season. I watched pretty much to where he used not to use his tattoo. So correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. Other than that, let's get into this video. So, I think 12 years before Naruto's birth. 12 years before Naruto went to the academy. It was Naruto's birth. The day of Obito attacking. The same things, the whole situation plays out with Obito and all that. Naruto gets the 9-tailed seal inside him. But dragons are alive in this world. Also, I forget his name, but there's a YouTuber. I was just searching this up beforehand so I could see if any YouTubers have ever done this before. I found a new one that I actually really like. I probably won't link a link down in the description. But if you know him, please tell him I send thanks, because I kind of got this idea from him. But no, there are dragons, just like the fairy tale ones, in this universe. So, but there's not a specific king or nothing. They just roam around. They're nomadic. For those who don't know what nomadic means, they just move around a lot. But yeah. But an air dragon, actually, he doesn't really like Kurama all too much. So he was gonna go attack Kurama. But when he seen that Kurama was placed inside that boy, he wanted the boy to be strong enough to resist Kurama and to actually kind of beat Kurama. So he takes the boy before any of the Hokage or elders or Danzo can get to them. So when he scoops up, Naruto, he actually. By the way, the reason why I have Wendy, actually, never mind. Let me keep down, hush, hush. But yeah, he scoops up Naruto and takes him to a nearby mountain where they train. The dragon who actually trains him is the same one who trains Wendy, which is why Wendy is over here. But yeah, let me keep going. He already knows that he's a wind user, so he decides to teach him wind dragon slayer magic. But to help him out a little bit more, he puts an orb of the dragon slayer inside of him, and he still decides to teach Naruto. So by the age of 8, Naruto can already use Dragon Force, and he's actually pretty powerful. He could probably stand up to most Genin and even some low rank Chunin. And but he still trains. But once Naruto hits 9, the dragon that goes to Wendy, I forget his name, but the dragon that trained Wendy says, I have to leave now, Naruto. And he kind of like uses his claws to tap Naruto in the middle of his forehead, and it causes Naruto to go to sleep. He's cut the oxygen to the brain, which caused Naruto to lose consciousness. That's how he did it. And by the time Naruto woke up, he was gone. Like, he was completely gone. And Naruto said, I vow to find my dragon, or, well, he technically says, I've got to find my parent, because he views this dragon as his parent. But he goes to the Hidden Leaf Village unintentionally. He's just wandering around, and Kakashi actually sees Naruto. Kakashi every day goes around like a 20-meter range to look for Naruto. One day he actually found Naruto, and he immediately recognizes this boy because of his yellow hair, like his father's, and also because you can very much tell it is Naruto. Because they have posters on around what he would look like today. He looked very different, but he still looked close enough to the pictures. So Kakashi appears in front of Naruto and say, "Hey Naruto," and Naruto says, "How do you know my name?" Because the dragon overheard Minato name him Naruto, and that's what the dragon called him. He says, "How do you know my name? Only my parents know my name." He says, "As I'm guessing something happened. Who raised you?" He said, "A dragon raised me." And dragons hadn't been seen for a very long time, well over 100 years. So everyone thought they would just win extinct out of nowhere, and of course, um, Kakashi says, that's impossible. Dragons went extinct over 100 years ago, and they only helped. And the one dragon that didn't went extinct, that one dragon that didn't die, was buried with Hashirama after they fought Madara. And Naruto's just like, no, that can't be happening because I was just with my parent. He said, well, what's your parent's name? And he says Wendy's dragon name. And immediately Kakashi recognizes this name. This is his dragon that fought with Madara. And he says, boy, do you know who that dragon is? Do you know how close he was to killing this entire village, including your real parents? The village that your real parents live in, your human ones. He says, I don't really care about them. They left me out. And he says, no, your parents died protecting you. So mind your manners. And Kakashi was very obviously angry because Naruto just kind of insulted Minato, which is his sensei. And Kakashi was having none of it. So he just says, mind your manners. And he chops Naruto in the neck, knocking him out. And he brings him to Hiruzen. When Naruto wakes up, he just sees an old man with a white beard, and he's wrinkly all over. And he says, Naruto, my boy. And Naruto says, how you know my name? He says, well, I was a close friend of your father's. Both of them, actually. The dragon one and your real parents. He says, what? But that man, and he points to Kakashi, who is right beside him, said, the dragons were extinct over 100 years ago. He says, well, the one that fought with Madara actually didn't. He abandoned Madara, but we just thought that he was killed, considering how gravely injured he was. He was missing an arm, and he had a hole in his stomach, and Naruto remembered that his parent, we'll just keep going tonight, actually had a missing arm and a scar on his stomach. He says, you're right, that's my dragon. And Hiruzen says, of course I know this. I was one of the people that fought with Madara as well. And for those, I'm changing the story. He didn't actually fight with Madara. He just kind of looked from a far distance while Hashirama and Igneo, because that's the person I'm gonna put with, while Madara is nursing that one. And he's like, and Naruto's just like, well, Mullen, I'm so sorry since you know my parent, and I really hope you can move past this. He says, no problem. We're gonna arrange your housing orders, and also, you're gonna be a ninja. That's the only way you can repay this. He says, what do you mean? He says, well, as you know, he fought against our village. Your parent destroyed a quarter of our village, though we rebuilt it a long time ago. He never paid for it, so you will by becoming a ninja. This seems kind of cruel for those considering that it's Hiruzen, but Hiruzen genuinely is like, he knows dragons and what dragon slayers can do because Madara and Hashirama was both dragon slayers. And also, there's another dragon slayer in the village, Sasuke Uchiha. He was raised by, let's Get it rolling. Ignio's ghost. Leave me alone. I had very gotten bored. But yeah, he was actually trained by Ignio's ghost, and he also has an orb. So he's also a third generation Dragon Slayer. In Hiruzen points this house. He says, by the way, dude, I believe you're a third generation Dragon Slayer, considering that you have an orb in you that can sense, and since you got raised by a dragon, you must be a third generation Dragon Slayer. He said, what? There's more generations other than me? Like, yes, there's the first generation Dragon Slayers. I believe their name was Ashura and Indra, and then the second generation Dragon Slayers that only had orbs in them. Hashirama and Madara, of course. But it was a mix since the dragons actually helped them out in the future. But yeah, we're not going to talk about that. And he said, now the third generation is here. Seems like they all come from the Uchiha and the Senju or Senju related. That's just the best people for Dragon Slayers. For those who don't know, who couldn't pick up on it, they train the incarnates. They unintentionally do this, by the way. They like, even though the dragons are reincarnated, so they infinitely fight as well. So they help the incarnates of Indra. That's for the Wind Dragon, and Ashura for, and Ashura, the Flame Dragon. This time it got switched because the Wind Dragon messed it up because it picked up Naruto, so Ignio was forced to go with Sasuke. But it kind of makes more sense like this because Sasuke also had flames in him. It would be no point in training Naruto since he doesn't have flames already. And Naruto is just like, I want to meet this person. You see Sasuke, he's still brooding as always. He's just more powerful. He's like, so you're also the Dragon Slayer. He says, what do you mean also? Are you a Dragon Slayer too? He says, yeah, I'm a winged one, and I'll destroy you. And he says, I highly doubt it. He says, can you even use Dragon Force? And Sasuke says, you can use it? I've been training for 4 years to use it, and I still haven't gotten it once. And Naruto says, well, I'm actually a master of it, since I've been training for 12 years to use it. And he says, Sasuke just looks at him and says, I see you're very powerful. Maybe we could become comrades one day. And we're gonna skip forward for 4 years. This is actually, Naruto doesn't care about school. He's at the bottom of the class because he still can perform basic stuff. He just doesn't care all too much about school. And Sasuke is at the top even more so since he could create flame clones from his fire dragon slayer magic, or as they call it, a KK Genkai, his fire dragon slayer KK Genkai. And he also has his Sharingan, because he awakened it while fighting Ignio one day. So Naruto is still placed on the same team, but he actually tracks down Mizuki. For those who don't know, Dragon Slayers have a keen sense of smell, like the Inuzuka clan. So he actually tracks down Mizuki, and in one punch he says, Fist of the Wind Dragon. And he punches Mizuki so hard that Mizuki he actually has a missing arm, his right arm to be specific, because he tried to block it with his right arm, but it just completely took it off. Because Naruto completely outclasses Mizuki. So does Sasuke. They are both easily Jonin level, but this isn't Dragon Force only. If they're doing it based on the baseline, they're mid tuning to high tuning, and sometimes on their worst day, they're only high getting. Like whenever they run out of chakra really badly, they're high getting. But other than that, though, I only have one more thing to go over. Haruka actually does not have a relationship with Naruto at this time. What he kind of does, he still goes out with for ramen every now and then. But Sasuke is Naruto's main friend. Also, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna just say that beforehand. But again, I think this should be going out before or after. I'm not really sure. When Naruto left the Hidden Village one. But if it doesn't, and I release that one post, which I shouldn't. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, check out my Instagram, Rise and Draws. I post there almost every day because I love doing art and I love to improve on my art. So I try to do it every day. But yeah, if you go backwards, you can actually see my art progression. So yeah. Other than that, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. And it is Rising is logging off.